What's up everybody? Welcome back to another video. So yesterday was the kickoff, well, I guess the only day really, unless they release more, for the pre-orders of the Xbox Series X and the Xbox Series S. And it got off to extremely hot start, starting in Australia, I believe, which sold out in about 14 minutes. Then coming to the rest of the other places that it's available for pre-order, and it sold out very fast. There were lots of issues. People were having trouble checking out. Websites were crashing. It was kind of a big mess, but thing is, it's like kind of expected that retailers, a lot of these retailers, I guess, don't have the server capacity and aren't set up to take on the huge increase in quick load that they're getting from all of these people coming in all at the same time, trying to pre-order the same thing. And it was nuts. I know here in Canada, I actually went to EB Games, stood in line, was able to get one, no problem. But I know I was trying to get onto Best Buy at the same time, just in case I wasn't able to get one from EB. And the second I went onto Best Buy to the Xbox Series X and Series S pre-orders, the website crashed, got that bad gateway webpage, and it was a big mess. So online was pretty tough for a lot of people. Going to the store was actually not that bad, and I found it's like always a better experience actually going to the store than just sitting at home online. Kind of brings you back to the older console generations, even though in the older generations they didn't really have pre-orders, but you would go the midnight release or whatever, and it was always a fun, good time. And it was kind of like that again for the Xbox Series X and Series S. So as we can see there, Phil Spencer tweeted out they had record-breaking demand for the X and S, and the pre-order sold out, and it's going to be an extremely popular console. This with the PS5 really have a lot of excitement. It seems like way more excitement than the last generation, especially because I think the seemingly lack of inventory that both of these consoles are going to have during the first year. So the hype and the want and the demand is just through the roof. Now, obviously a big part of why the pre-order and why the want for the Xbox Series X and S yesterday was because of that announcement on Monday, which was that they acquired ZeniMax Studios, and Bethesda being a part of that and all the amazing games that they release obviously increases the hype for it. But we got some more news on that today about Bethesda being part of the Xbox Game Studios, and basically that they are going to be running semi-independently under Microsoft, which I think is a great thing. You see Phil Spencer and you see Microsoft doing this a lot with these studios that they are acquiring, is that they acquire them, but they allow them to keep their culture, and Microsoft kind of adapts to their culture so that they can keep creating the amazing games that they've been doing while being independent. So speaking with CNET's Phil Spencer said that Bethesda will adopt some of the Xbox's new practices, so obviously launching into Game Pass and becoming playable through game streaming with xCloud, which obviously is a huge thing and a great thing, not only for Xbox and for Microsoft, but for Bethesda as well. But their culture is going to be the same. So basically, he said it's about the culture of those teams, and they're not becoming us. What I just think is huge, because sometimes you see these major companies like Microsoft acquire these studios, then they force all of these corporate practices onto them, and they kind of ruin them. You see that a lot with like Activision and EA, with the microtransactions and making these studios create games that are not in line with their creative vision, and it just turns out bad. So really hoping that Microsoft does stick to this and that this is the case, but it seems like they will, because all the other studios they've acquired, this is how they've operated, and it's been working out well for them. So you can be rest assured pretty much with Bethesda and all the games they make, it's going to be in the same fashion that they were making when they were run independently. And then the hype train continues with Microsoft and acquiring studios, because there's another article talking about how Microsoft isn't done their acquisitions, which, I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if they do acquire more. I was reading about like how much cash they have on hand in billions, and this 7.5 billion acquisition of ZeniMax Studios is massive when you think about it in terms of the amount of money, but they paid them in cash, meaning that Microsoft has so much more cash on hand. They wouldn't put all their cash into this. So that $7.5 billion they paid in cash is probably just kind of a dip into the bucket of the amount of cash they actually have on hand. And the risk isn't nearly as big as we think it is, or as big as it would be if somebody else acquired them, which is nuts, because Microsoft, if they really wanted to, could just go out and buy up so many studios, which they've been doing, but even beyond that could buy even more and really monopolize the amount of studios, which I don't know if that's good. You don't really want a monopoly, but they could do it technically with the amount of money that they have. And they are hinting at more developer acquisitions, and I think where Microsoft needs to go with their next developer acquisition is a Japanese studio, a Japanese developer, Japanese publisher. And that's what this is kind of hinting at. A lot of people are thinking that they're going to go out and try to acquire SEGA, which I think would be perfect for Microsoft, especially if you think of the SEGA games back on the original Xbox and the kind of partnership that they had there. Think about like the launch of Jet Set Radio Future on the Xbox. That was a huge launch game, or I think it was like a launch window game for the original Xbox, and that was a SEGA published game. But I just wanted to bring this page up here just to show some of the exclusive SEGA games that came out on the original Xbox and how good their partnership was back then. We had Crazy Taxi 3 High Roller, great game. I have a copy of that on my shelf. Toe Jam and Earl 3 Missions to Earth, which was like a platformer game. It actually seems like it has a decent following. Then, like I said, Jet Set Radio Future, which was a pretty big hit on the original Xbox, especially when it was an earlier release game. And it was a fun overall game, and I would love to see another Jet Set Radio game come out on the Xbox Series. Shenmue 2, I know that was a big Japanese style game that came out on the original Xbox. And if you think about how popular that game has become and how popular that game was with the Kickstarter for Shenmue 3, even though it may have not been critically acclaimed and not had the best reception, it was still massive. And then we got Panzer Dragoon Orta, which is a really, really fun game. If you play it, the original Xbox version on your Xbox One X, it's crazy how good it looks. I was playing it, it looks like a brand new game. So I think it would be just absolutely perfect for Sega and Microsoft to come together and start making a partnership, and Microsoft buys them, start publishing exclusive games on Xbox Game Pass. I mean, if you look at what they have already on Game Pass, they have the Yakuza series, they have Phantasy Star Online, and those are two big Japanese style games that are massive for Game Pass. For people that are looking for Japanese games on Xbox, they can go there. So that's huge. If we look at some of the other games that Sega has, like Bayonetta and Vanquish, I know Bayonetta 3 is only coming out on the Nintendo Switch. They somehow acquire Sega. See that change. They have Yakuza 7 coming out, and then they have so many good IPs. Like I know Judgment was a pretty well received game, kind of like a Yakuza style game. Then you have all the Sonic IPs. Then you have the Sonic racing games. You have all the Sonic games in general. And you have games like Super Monkey Ball that they can revive. But I mean, they have tons and tons of stuff. The point being is that Sega and Microsoft will be a match made in heaven, in my opinion, because of the previous relationship and just because of what's going on now with Game Pass and everything. And people keep thinking that this controller here, this really good looking Shock Blue controller that is releasing with the Xbox Series, is kind of a hint to that, because it's the Sonic Blue and it kind of looks like Sonic in the controller form. So I don't think so. I think this is just a really nice looking controller that they want to have at launch, but you never know. They really need that prominent Japanese presence if they want to have any inroads to the Japan market, to the Asian market. They really need those types of games in their collection on Game Pass. And I think that, like I said, Sega would be perfect, especially if you can get all those games onto Game Pass. You don't even have to sell the box in the Asian territories. You just sell service. Will get people locked into your ecosystem. So I think that would be really smart by them. Let me know what you guys think about all this in the comments below. Do you think that Microsoft is done acquiring studios, or do you think they're going to go out and actually get Sega or somebody else? I would love to know your thoughts. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to hit that thumbs up button, subscribe if you're new to this channel, and I'll catch you in the next video.